The list of countries grounding Boeing's 737 MAX aircraft grows. Earlier the rand weakened to R19/pound, as reports suggested the EU's concessions were not enough. WIT's University Vice-Chancellor Adam Habib talks to Business Day TV about the how to address the fees must fall issue. The SFF sold SAS' entire strategic fuel stock of 10 million barrels in December 2017 at well below the prevailing market price and without permission. Only a tiny proportion of the voting population are active on Facebook and Twitter, but that is not the whole story. Group 5 and peers including Basil Reed and Erbakan have succumbed to a depressed construction market in which major projects have failed to materialize. Electricity cuts and upward administered price pressures have dampening effect on key sectors. The tax only applies to economic activities which emit greenhouse gases within South Africa and will therefore not apply to international airlines. Singapore and Australia are the latest countries to ground the planes as the scare wipes billions of dollars off Boeing's market value. Instead of undermining the confidence of those responsible for staging the most popular games, it might be a plan to use the New Year test and Pink ODI as selling points and blueprints to be emulated. Wanted compiled a list of some of our favorite abandoned spaces, all begging to be remembered and even, perhaps, explored. Singapore and Australia suspended operations of all Boeing 737 MAX aircraft in and out of their airports on Tuesday, and Indonesia and China grounded their fleets of the U.S. planemaker's latest model after it suffered a second fatal crash in less than 5 months. The scare has wiped billions of dollars off the market value of the world's biggest plane maker, as the Boeing share closed 5% down on Monday, having fallen by as much as 13.5% at one point. Nearly 40% of the in-service fleet of 371 Boeing 737 MAX jets globally is grounded, according to industry publication Flight Global, including 97 jets in the biggest market, China. A day after a Ethiopian Airlines passenger jet plunged to the ground, killing all 157 people aboard, the U.S. stressed it was safe to fly the planes, but a statement issued by Singapore's Civil Aviation Authority CAS showed that question marks hanging over the aircraft after Sunday's disaster could not be dispelled so fast. During the temporary suspension, CAS will gather more information and review the safety risk associated with the continued operation of the Boeing 737 MAX aircraft into and out of Singapore, the regulator said in a statement. It is the first major regulator to order such an action, but the anxiety is also evident among air travelers, who rushed to find out from social media whether they were booked to fly on 737 MAX planes. The same model involved in the Lion Air crash off Indonesia that killed 189 people in October. There has been no information yet to link the Lion Air and Ethiopian Airlines incidents. Hours later, Australia's Civil Aviation Safety Authority followed Singapore's lead with a temporary suspension to review the risks, citing the best interests of safety. Investigators in Ethiopia found 2 black box recorders that will provide information about what happened before the plane plunged into farmland minutes after takeoff from Addis Ababa. If the recordings, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration (FAA) issued a continued airworthiness notification for the 737 MAX late on Monday to assure operators, and detailed a series of design changes mandated by Boeing. Boeing issued a statement as well, saying it had been working with the FAA in the aftermath of the Lion Air crash to develop enhancements to flight control software that will be deployed across the 737 MAX fleet in coming weeks. The new MAX 8 variant of the 737, the world's best-selling modern passenger aircraft, has bigger engines designed to use less fuel. It entered service, suspensions mounting. Ethiopian Airlines, which has 4 other 737 MAX 8 jets, said it was grounding them as a precaution. Gol in Brazil has temporarily suspended MAX 8 flights, as has Argentina's state airline Aerolíneas Argentinas and Mexico's Aeroméxico. Singapore Airlines, whose Silk Air brand operates 6 Boeing 737 MAX aircraft, said it has temporarily withdrawn its fleet and will re-accommodate affected customers. Other airlines that operate Boeing 737 MAX aircraft to Singapore: China Southern Airlines, Garuda Indonesia, Shandong Airlines, and Thai Lion Air are also affected. Australia's Fiji Airways and Silk Air will be affected by its temporary suspension. On Monday, China ordered its airlines to suspend the use of their 737 MAX 8 jets. A spokesperson for China's foreign ministry said on Tuesday that it is hard to predict a detailed timetable for when the suspension would be lifted, emphasizing that passenger safety was paramount. The current scare could jeopardize a potential commitment by China to buy more Boeing aircraft as part of a deal being negotiated to end a trade war with the U.S. The list goes on. Indonesia, on Monday, said it will temporarily ground 737 MAX 8 jets operating in the country for inspections. South Korean budget carrier EasyJet will temporarily ground its 737 MAX 8s from Wednesday to better cooperate with the government's required emergency safety inspections, an airline spokesperson said on Tuesday. India's regulator ordered additional maintenance checks on 737 MAX 8 aircraft operating in the country and said a review found no significant concern. Vietnam state media reported the aviation regulator will not issue licenses to local airlines to operate the 737 MAX until the cause of the Ethiopian crash is determined. Still, major airlines from North America to the Middle East are still flying the 737 MAX, though Canadian Transport Minister Mark Garneau said he would not hesitate to take action once the cause of the crash is known. Southwest Airlines, which operates the largest fleet of 737 MAX 8s, said it remains confident in the safety of all its Boeing planes even as it fielded queries from customers. Our customer relations team is responding to these customers individually, emphasizing our friendly, no-change fee policy, the fourth largest U.S. airline said in a statement. Flydubai said it had received the FAA's continued airworthiness notification and no further action is required at this time, while Turkish Airlines said it is closely monitoring developments. Former FAA accident investigator Mike Daniel said he believes the decision by regulators to ground the planes is premature. To me, however, he said more groundings are now likely due to a snowball effect unless Boeing or the FAA releases more information.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.